you. Hey, it's one of the most important decisions in your life. Let us help you through it. Here's our number. Call 65 Plus Medicare now at 855-301-5506, 855-301-5506. That's 855-301-5506.
Kansas lawmakers are proceeding with a bill to ban state agencies from having TikTok accounts and to ban TikTok from state government devices. Topeka Capital Journal's Jason Kidd reports the proposed legislation could impact the football and basketball recruitment strategy for Kansas State, as TikTok has grown into a significant recruiting tool for younger teens. Tidd reports that requiring state networks to block TikTok would make the app unusable for students on campus Wi-Fi. Question: do you think a TikTok ban would have a significant or insignificant effect on Kansas State's recruitment strategy?
I can't speak to Kansas State specifically, but what I can tell you is I view this ban on TikTok as a rare example of government actually working the way it's intended to. This is bipartisan, heavily bipartisan, and I believe largely for the right reasons. To this day, I've never opened a TikTok link. I've told people who've texted me TikTok links, I'm not opening this. I don't open TikTok. I do believe it is a massive national security threat. I wish this would have been done earlier, and it's not done yet, so I still wish it done. But this is something that I've never liked, and I'm happy to see our government on both the state and even federal level really on both sides of the aisle pushing to get this done. I hope it gets done soon, because I've never trusted this app, and I'm happy to see it. I don't really care what it does to Kansas State or any other school's recruiting efforts. I think it's a much bigger deal than that. It's a national security issue, privacy issue of a major order. It's effectively a tool of the Chinese Communist Party to spy on people. I'm not game with it. I won't open a link, and I will be happy if no one can once this is passed. If that's indeed what they do, a straight ban of it in the country, I'm all for it.
I'm with you. I'm with you 1,000%.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, these are too easy when they're like this. I enjoy being on the other side, not just because I want to be,
right,
but because it's great debate.
It's good conversation, right? But this is
right.
This is
but this I couldn't agree more. TikTok is a joke.
Yep.
It is indeed a national security risk,
mm-hmm.
and I get what kids do with it. I think it's stupid, right, but I get what they do with it. I'm obviously not the target audience.
Nope.
But when I see adults do it, I'm pretty much like, get out of here, grow the hell up, then come back.
Yeah, right.
You know,
you missed
you're
40.
You're 46. Right. What are you doing?
Doesn't even the name just sound amateurish and kiddie to you?
Oh, I know.
I mean, like, really? No, I agree. And the thing is, like, this is where regulation. I'm a notorious small government, limited government intervention person in every aspect of life. This is an example of where government regulation is good, proper, and healthy. This is a known privacy issue. It is a known security issue potentially. And, in the age of cyber crime and cyber warfare, God knows what data they've already aggregated with all these users and how they're going to use that against maybe individual citizens or groups of people in the future. It's too late. That's water under the bridge. That's already gone. But, do what you can to stop it. This is a perfect example of healthy, proper government intervention and regulation. And it's good to see both sides more or less agree on it. Neither side's defending it, that's hard to accomplish.
That's the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
That's what government's supposed to do.
This is what it's supposed to look like, guys. I know this doesn't happen very much, but take notice. Once upon a time, this happened a little bit more often. And this is what it's supposed to do. Right. So, no, it was good. And, I think I think college recruiting in general, going away from the question here, just because we have a couple of minutes, I think college recruiting in general is vastly different. I'll tell you what, if I was running a program, like a power program, I'm not talking Kansas State, but if I'm running Duke, North Carolina, Ohio State football, someone like that, what I'm doing is I'm signing low-hanging fruit that I know I can get. And expecting a lot of them to transfer. And I'm doing my recruiting in the transfer portal during the year. I'm tampering, I'm doing crazy stuff. Like, that's what I'm doing in the current college landscape because it's the Wild West. It's like perpetual free agency for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm playing that game. I want to see how these recruits, basically rookies, now we can call them, right? How they perform in certain situations. Some guys are going to be, highly rated. They're not going to play as well. Some guys are going to be lower rated and they're going to play better than that. And you know what I want to do? I want to let some other school show me that and then go try to steal them. That's how I would be doing it right now. I mean, because that's the system they've set up. I mean, it's free agency. It's perpetual free agency. I mean, I feel
Agreed.
bad for college coaches right now. I mean, this is a rough time to be a college basketball coach, especially. It's a little less rough for football guys because football guys, because of the nature of when you're allowed to go to the NFL and frankly, when you're physically ready to, in most cases, you still have more or less 3 years. So even if you lose some guys to a transfer portal, if you get a guy in, you have 2 more years with them at minimum usually. Basketball is all one and done with the best players to begin with. And then all of a sudden now, I don't even get that, or I get that and nothing else. Now I have to turn over the rest of my roster. I mean, it's being a basketball coach right now it's got to be awful.
Oh, it's hell.
It has to.
It really is hell. With football, you're recruiting to fill 90 scholarships?
Yes.
Oh, you lose 1 or 2 guys, it would hurt you to lose a name.
Right.
And a guy that can play, but you probably have someone there that can fill most of the spots you lose.
Yeah, no, that's true. And most guys are on a football team are interchangeable pieces, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. But like most of them aren't star pass rushers or star left tackles or star quarterbacks or big time receivers. Most of them are random linebacker X, random safety X, nickelback Y. You can find those guys. They're available. There's only so many guys on a basketball team, and only so many of them are in the rotation. We understand the math of the two sports. But yeah, I feel bad for college coaches, basketball coaches in particular. So I guess I do. If they feel this is a TikTok, getting back to the question for a second, if they feel TikTok is a effective tool for them and they're going to be losing it, I mildly sympathize with that because their job is really tough right now. But the importance of the security of the country takes precedent here. So, they're going to have to deal. It's as simple as that.
I wish we'd get rid of it altogether.
Well, that's what they're planning on doing, TikTok.
I mean, completely, not just governmental and educational use. All of it.
No, that's what they're pushing for in Congress at the federal level. They're pushing for a ban of its use in the United States. That's exactly what
I know a lot of people that are on both sides that agree with that.
Yeah, that's what they're pushing for. That's the bill being advanced in Congress right now. It's a bill already. It's going, I think it's to the House or going to the Senate. It's like already circulating. So that's a thing on the federal level.
Okay, because I know of the one that was just the government and educational entities.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's across the board. But either way, I'm certainly on board for however far they can take it, up to and complete banishment. It's bad stuff. It really is. All right, let's take a quick.
I'm the wrong age to comment on this, Gary. You're closer than I am.
Yep.
But I just don't see what real purpose it serves.
Well, I think having never even opened a link, it's hard for me to say.
Because you can make 6-second videos and
Well,
look like an idiot for a very short time.
well, this is the thing. And Facebook kind of gives you a window into this reality. So when you run paid Facebook ads of any kind, if it's a video ad, they will show you how many 3-second and 1-minute views that ad got. Nothing longer than a minute. I mean, that doesn't mean other people don't watch longer than a minute, but they don't show you that number. And they start at 3 seconds. So that tells
because the average attention span in this age is a lot shorter.
It's very short. And that tells you that right there. So what TikTok, to answer your question, my understanding is what TikTok is so successful at, what's made them so successful, is they basically built an entire ecosystem around this very reality. And it's become just sort of like, you know, the new version of highlights, except it's not sports necessarily. It's everything is just cut down to the quickest possible soundbite, and it's all in video. I mean, it's really not healthy, but it's also very much a reality of how people consume information now. So that's
Is that
why
Toby?
works. It is Toby.
Tell him to throw TikTok away too.
Well, Toby has a longer attention span than an average TikTok user.
Probably. I mean, along with the 16-point play, throw away TikTok too.
Yes, I totally agree.
You know, I don't know. I really don't know. I can see people watching things for 3 seconds.
Yep.
And I think TikTok is a cause of that.
Yeah. See,
it's not a good one.
No, I think TikTok is capitalizing on that having already happened. I don't think TikTok caused that. I think that they mastered the cultivation of that reality.
They've been around a little while.
Yeah, like 4 years now. 4 or 5 years. This has been going on really. I would say, if you're looking for a culprit in what started this, I would say Twitter is the founder of the short attention span. That would be my personal and professional opinion on that. But
you don't like only being able to say things in 140 characters?
I'm a talk show host. I talk for 2 hours. What do you think? Come on now.
I was answering something on Twitter, and all of a sudden, boom, half of what I wrote was in pink because it was too many letters. I'm like, I don't like this.
But why pink?
Because it highlights it.
Yeah,
these are the words.
I know.
These are the words that are too much.
Well, why not highlight it in like a cool color, like green or blue or something? Why go to a pink?
They want it to stand out. It's the pink background on it. You just can't help but notice it.
Come on, Elon, get on that. What are you waiting for? Another priority?
Jason says he's late to the show, but let's go Knicks.
Okay.
So far, their trade for Hart looks good after all. Hell of a lot better than talking about TikTok, but hey, we have a job to do.
That's true. You know what? Let's talk about the Knicks. They had a big win last night against Boston.
Yeah, they did.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll circle the wagons around the Knicks. I think that's owed a quick analysis. So we'll do that. Back after this, the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All right, we're back here on the Gary Ayd Show. It's great to have you aboard. And the New York Knicks really put it to the Boston Celtics. I mean, this is a statement win. As Austin put in the comments, 6-0 since the trade to acquire Josh Hart. This team, I'll tell you what, all year I thought they were a sure playoff team. Now I'm almost thinking of them as a potential dark horse to really pull an upset against someone. They're proving they can play with just about anybody, Rich.
They are. And I see a lot of teams in the East that are beatable. Your top few, of course, but then a lot that are. It's going to be interesting. The trade, well, we looked at it as, and yes, I'm guilty, and I admit it.
Yep.
Oh, that's just a trade. It was a little more than that.
Yeah. No.
I think there's a different attitude with Hart on the floor.
Yeah, that's palpable. My criticism of it was the fact that they gave up a number 1 draft pick for him. But
I'm fine with that.
If his impact is going to be sustained at this level of palpable energy shift, then yeah, I'm fine with it now too.
It's going to be a pick near 20.
Yeah. Yep.
Cares.
Yeah, it's
how many guys picked after 16
it wasn't
have not made an impact this year.
But to be fair, it wasn't like they just traded that pick for him straight up. There were other decent players involved. Like it was a multi-pronged trade, but it was, and I hated seeing Reddish go. I thought he should have fit into that team. He never was going
but
to.
It was obvious he's not going to.
Never was going to. No, it's but that was a big win. Jason Tatum actually had his first career ejection. It's been quite a revelation seeing this team develop into the antagonist that they are. I think the NBA now, I think the Knicks are on their way to being a villain type of team with this group, and I really like it. I think the NBA has a couple of those again. The Warriors have always had a tiny twinge of that. That comes mostly from Green and a little bit from Klay Thompson. But I also think the Grizzlies have taken that mantle. Everyone hates them. And now I think the Knicks are kind of in that running too. And I'll tell you what, I'm here for it. I love when there's teams that other teams don't like. It just makes for good basketball. It really does.
I agree. I agree completely. And you know something, though? I always say when they hate you, that means they don't like to play you.
That's right. Yep.
I'd be fine with that.
Nope,
hate away.
Nope. You can't have haters if you're not important.
That's right.
What it boils down
Nobody
to.
hates the Spurs.
Nope. That's a fact.
Except Spurs fans.
They used to hate the Spurs. For a lot of years they hated the Spurs because they were winning.
Oh, yeah. First it was, they got the draft picks. Oh, then they get Duncan. Oh, load management. There was always a reason to hate the Spurs.
Yep. But now, not anymore.
Someone else drafted Kawhi, and they took him in exchange for a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well.
The way they drafted in Europe when other people were not. Bringing over a Hall of Famer like Ginobili with like the second last pick in the draft.
Tony Parker was another one they found.
Yeah. A soon-to-be Hall of Famer.
Yep. Absolutely. And Tony Parker was so good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he used to tear defenses up. He led the league in points in the paint year after year as like a 6'1" point guard. He just
I
making
know.
floater after floater after floater. George Hill was the guy that they got Kawhi Leonard for. Dylan would know, he's a Pacers fan. Ouch. That's a rough one.
That stings. I forgot it was George Hill. That really stings. Oh man, I
That's a rough
feel
one.
for you.
Let's hit some of these comments real quick. Austin's asking, he wants to hear your thoughts, Rich, on Leslie Frazier leaving for the 2023 season, and also, will Joe Douglas bring Wentz to the Jets after being the guy who drafted him to the Eagles? Why don't you take the Frazier one and I'll take the Jets one?
Okay. I had something on the Jets one, but it
Okay.
was more or less a shoulder shrug.
Okay.
If you bring him in, it's as a backup. And
Yes.
is White better?
I
At
don't-
this stage, who knows?
Yeah.
Leslie Frazier leaving. Frazier gets a lot of blame, especially in the Buffalo market. It was his defense that did this. It was his defense that caused 13 seconds. Technically, do your homework, do your reading, and find out why that happened. The same reason the special teams coach that year was the sacrificial lamb on something that McDermott overturned. He wanted to kick it short, and McDermott said, kick it into the end zone. Short would have run some time off the clock.
Yep.
Frazier wanted to play more up on the receivers and double. No, McDermott overruled him and said, play the prevent. You know something? They're going to miss Frazier more than people think. And you know my feelings on McDermott.
Yep.
I don't think I need to elaborate them again.
No, I don't.
I
think
feel
so.
they've gone as far as they can with him, and that's all.
Yep.
But they're going to miss Frazier. Frazier knows how to dial up a defense.
I mean, the thing that's interesting about this is he's saying he's taking the year off and coming back in 24.
He's going to be like 76.
Are they just going to hold his job for him?
I have no idea what's going on.
That's the question.
Frazier is a solid defensive coordinator. He really is. He dials up blitzes perfectly. He got the most use out of some players that I think might regress next year. As I feel that whole team will, but that's not the subject at hand. And I think it's going to be a bigger loss than people think. I think people in Buffalo are celebrating that. No, they're going to miss Leslie Frazier a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the team wasn't top 5 defense for the past 2 years for nothing.
No, I mean, he's obviously a wicked veteran coach. He's been around forever. And he's really very what's the word I'm looking for? Very personable, very easy to like. You know,
he is.
He's a guy that you just like feel good about rooting for. And you want to see him succeed. And there's something I think to be said for having a guy like that on your staff, for having a guy who is able to be likable and have people root for you, because it helps with morale, but it also helps with, positive media coverage. I don't care what anyone says. You'd much rather be liked than not liked. And it's helpful to be liked. And he makes it easy to like that defense because it's easy to like him.
True. The players like him.
And I think that's important to a degree.
And it's very important to have your players like you. And what you have with him, there's not a situation that'll ever come up that he hasn't seen.
Oh,
there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Dylan says he may be in the minority, but going to the Jets question that Austin posed earlier, getting to that one now about Carson Wentz. Will Douglas sign him as a backup? He drafted him with the Eagles. I mean, it's possible. I don't even think it's necessarily a bad idea because I don't believe in Mike White even a little bit. I do believe Carson Wentz is appreciably better than him. And Joe Flacco is 100 years old. He's the same age as Leslie Frazier. So like, you know, we can have him go bye-bye now too. Like in other words, I believe they desperately need a backup. Well, hell, they desperately need a starter. I don't know that I want Wentz as my starter. In fact, I'm pretty sure I don't.
No, you absolutely don't.
But I'll tell you what.
Is a backup with the Jets? I don't know. There might be situations he's better suited for.
Well, I'll tell you this. If the Jets signed him, if they did nothing else at quarterback, I would want him to start over anyone on their current roster. That's how little I think of their quarterbacks. So
I'm up in the air on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Zach Wilson's a train wreck.
They need a quarterback, a real starting quarterback.
God,
this team is on the verge.
Oh, yes. I'm not saying
Carson Wentz is not.
No, don't get me twisted. I'm not saying sign Wentz and your quarterback situation is solved. What I'm saying, if they strike out on other quarterbacks, let's say they sign Wentz with the intention of him being a backup and they strike out on other guys, I think he becomes your starter because I think he's the best of that lot, which is not an endorsement.
No, it better not be.
That's just a,
that's
a
they
crap
had a
pile.
good meeting with Carr. Stop with this Rodgers fantasy. He doesn't know what he's going to do. You don't know what he's going to do. He's going to go around and wait too long to make a decision, and you're going to lose Carr. Sign the guy.
Yeah, if you can get Carr, get Carr.
Rodgers is not the answer anyway.
Oh.
Who knows what his frame of mind will be like then?
Oh, I would take Aaron Rodgers in a nanosecond. But
see, you don't have that problem with Carr.
Well, I'm not waiting on Rodgers if Carr says I'm ready to come here. But like, we don't know that. Like Carr's representation, and including his brother David, who's of course a former quarterback himself, have said this is gonna be a long process for Derek. So Derek is whining and dining and thinking and hemming and hawing. Like, so, to me, if I'm the Jets, if I'm in on both of those guys ostensibly,
whichever one comes to you first.
There you go. That's right.
If I really want Rodgers and Carr comes to me first, I'm making the quick call to Rodgers and saying I need an answer right now.
Yep. Yeah. No, I'll tell you this. Just because of the age, if I can get Carr, I'm taking him. Because while I think the Jets are coming up, I don't think they're Aaron Rodgers away from a Super Bowl next year. And that's where Carr is a better fit because I could have him for 4 years, and by year 2 or 3, maybe we are a Super Bowl contender. But if I'm the Jets, I'm not turning down Aaron Rodgers. If Rodgers comes up to me and says I'm ready to go, and Carr is still going blah 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 blah, I'm not, even though I prefer Carr, I'm not waiting for Carr when Rodgers is ready to go.
I think with all the young contracts on that Jets team, Carr should be your guy, not Rodgers.
Oh, I agree.
Because you can have a nice 3 to 4 year run with Carr. You ain't getting that with Rodgers.
No, I totally
even
agree.
though he's better.
Yes, I totally agree. But if Rodgers comes up tomorrow and says, or today, I'm ready to sign, and Carr is still kind of feeling things out, I'm not waiting and hoping that we win the Carr sweepstakes.
I would call Carr.
Well,
I would call Carr.
You call him and tell him, look,
and say, hey, I need a decision now, this second.
Yeah, Rodgers is ready to sign. We prefer you.
We want you. What are you going to do?
Are you going to do it or not?
I have to think about it. It's been nice talking to you.
Yep, we can't.
But you're dead to me.
Yep, we don't have time to think. Yep, no, that's how I feel.
I know a few teams that operate that way.
Yes. You know what would be a surprising move? But it would be so like them. I know they publicly are saying they're all about this guy, but I'm sorry. Kenny Pickett does not impress me. Wouldn't Derek Carr look great in the Steelers uniform? He really would. He would be the exact type of quarterback that the Steelers would want. He's reliable, understated, consistent, good player, good guy.
They still have Mason Rudolph. This is not a team that dumps quarterbacks.
I know.
And I don't see them dumping Pickett.
No, they're not. They're not going to. No, they're not going to. But I personally,
any other franchise, I'd say, yeah.
I personally,
not that one.
I personally think he stinks. But no, they're gonna play it out for a while.
I haven't seen enough of him. He started like less than half the year. I really haven't seen
Yeah, I
that
mean,
much.
he could turn it around, but my initial impression is not a favorable one. Plus, there's something
No, I didn't think he was very good.
there's something to be said for being a quarterback and having a name Pickett. That's just not cool.
Hey, they had one in Buffalo. His name was Lossman.
Yeah, that's not good either, right?
Maybe if he was Winman, he
Yeah,
would have done
Winman.
a little better.
Can we get Randy Wynn in here instead of JP Lossman? Wrong sport, guys. Oh, my bad. Couldn't be any worse, right? I mean, that what was it? About 6-7 months ago, we did that top 5 of the Buffalo Bills quarterbacks between Kelly and Allen. Oh, what a list
it
that
was not a top 5, man. That was like about a bottom 11. I had to cut down to 5.
Some of those names were legendary. Oh, there were some names on that list.
My all-time favorite, Billy Joe Hobart.
Oh, God.
Hey, you got to go into the game, but I haven't studied the playbook. Cut the next day.
If Jason's still watching, I know he's like palming his hand on this one because he's a big Bills fan. And oh man, that was some list. You know it's bad when Trent Edwards is by far the best guy on the list by like miles and miles. You know it's not a good list.
Yeah, Captain Checkdown was not very good. Oh man.
Well, it was like I play a lot of NBA 2K, and one of the things I like to do.
I bet you Trent Edwards stinks there too.
He probably would. I try to mix and match like historical rosters. So I go through like the historical rosters of all the teams. Like every team basically has like at least one, sometimes most of the time, multiple guys with a rating of 97 or higher. You know, the greatest player in Hornets history is rated an 89, and that's Alonzo Mourning.
Oh my God.
What a waste. What a waste of a franchise. They've never had one good guy. It's like, horrible. That made me
remind me one day when we talk away from this, my Alonzo Mourning story.
Sounds good. All right. Well, we got a couple of minutes here.
We got any more questions in there that were brought up? I mean, it was most of the stuff I had written down for later. Let's go through it.
Let's see.
I answered him on Marcus Mariota. I think he could be a decent backup for someone.
Yeah, I think he's a decent backup.
Only because he's mobile. The most important reason. He's mobile, he could get away from trouble, and he can move.
Well, then he'd be a great backup on a team that can't block anyone. Yes, I'm talking to you, Atlanta. You've had
that's who just caught him.
Yeah, I know. I know. What a disaster.
Which pretty much tells you
that's all you need to know.
Yeah. What you need to know.
When Atlanta's
and I hope Dylan sticks around for our extensive George Hill coverage at hour 2.
Oh yeah, exciting stuff. If he's not going over there, crying in his room that they traded Kawhi Leonard for George Hill. I mean, that's a tough memory. That's one of those things you try to suppress, and like when it comes up again, it's like hard to suppress again because it's like it's just raw. It's like, man, we traded Kawhi Leonard for this guy. Ouch. Yeah, that's a real ouch. And
Kawhi Leonard was the 15th pick in the draft, and that does not happen that often.
No, it's true. It's true. I can't tell you how many times. I mean, there's not many where there's been a player as good as Kawhi that late. I mean, where was, I guess Kobe was about that, right? 16 by Charlotte. So I guess that's another example. 13. Okay. Yeah. So that's another example.
They traded Charlotte Divac for him.
At least Divac was like a good player, but like, yeah, you're not going to trade Kobe Bryant for him.
No. You see Vlade leaving the forum, cigarette hanging out of his mouth,
Yeah.
Hustling out of the building.
One of my
remember those halftime locker room shots where you'd see Divac puffing away?
Oh, yes.
Oh, those were classic.
One of my favorite NBA stories of all time. During those years where the Kings and Lakers were rivals in the Western Conference in the early 2000s, I remember this wasn't a playoff game. This was a regular season game, as I recall. But Vlade always played with a beard, very thick beard.
Mhm.
Well, he comes out one day in the game. He's clean shaven. I didn't recognize him. I was like, who is this guy? Is that Brad Miller? Like, why is he starting? Is Divox hurt? Oh, no, it is Divox. What the hell? Like, I didn't recognize him. And then at halftime, he has a full 5 o'clock shadow. It's like, this is why he doesn't shave. It only lasts
Oh, I
like 4
know.
hours.
I know.
He's like a chia pet.
Vlade was one of the game's great characters as
Oh,
well.
he was. He was awesome.
Really was. I enjoyed listening to him.
There you go. Oh, look at this guy, Dylan, working the show while sitting at his baby's appointment. He ran away just in time. We just were talking about George Hill for Kawhi Leonard again, so he missed a good part of the show. It's good for him.
But
anyway.
no, you seldom see someone get taken with the 15th pick that's that kind of player. But at San Diego State, he was not that kind of player.
No, he wasn't.
He was a great defensive player who had yet to find his offense. And he credits, to this day, Pop in the San Antonio staff for that.
Yeah, he was.
And I'm glad they've mended those fences too.
Yeah, it is good. I agree.
They've been together, dinners, having wine, and that makes Pop happy. Not much makes him happy anymore, but that does.
Yeah, he's a grouch. He's like he's King Groucho. I'm just calling him Groucho from now on. Talk about a guy that needs to retire.
You got him in every sport. You really
you
do.
do.
You got Belichick. You got Tortorella in hockey.
Yeah, Tortorella, Saban.
Oh my God. That guy's legendary.
Who's baseball's resident grouch now? I mean, it's in a weird way, but Aaron Boone is fairly grouchy.
That's who I was thinking.
I mean, he's not old enough to be like you think of the grouches, you think of like, fat old guys like
grouches,
70-year-old men. But like baseball doesn't have many of those guys left, and the two that are left, Dusty and Showalter, are not grouches. They're the opposite of grouches.
No.
Aaron Boone's like, getting a 20-year head start on the get off my lawn stage of his life.
Oh, I know. He's there, believe me. Dusty Baker's like the happiest person I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, he is.
Every time you see him.
Showalter can get a little testy here and there, but usually it's with good reason, and it's usually short-lived.
Right.
He's generally accommodating. His time in the media, which was relatively extensive between his stints with the Yankees and the Orioles, I think really helped him in the later stages of his managerial career. And that's one of the reasons I'm so disappointed with Steve Kerr, because he was a great broadcaster and he did that for a long time, and he's pretty miserable with the media. And he really shouldn't be. I know he has the skills not to be.
He's not as bad as you think. I have seen so much worse.
I mean, I've seen worse too, but he's very condescending. He's very victim-like, like they're out to get him. And, they're not out to get you any more than anyone else. I mean, yes.
In fact, I think they're pretty good to him.
I do too. So, yeah, he's not the worst. I mean, he's not Popovich. Thank God.
God, nobody is.
Yeah, but literally Craig Sager, rest in peace, was like dying of cancer. And like the best Pop could do was like 2 words. I mean, I know it was tongue in cheek, but still, that's like the legacy. Like, man.
Pop and Sager had a good relationship.
Yeah, they did.
That actually was the only person Pop wanted to be interviewed by.
Yeah. I think he just wanted to, ask Craig where he got all his suits.
Probably. I'm sure Jack Ramsey did.
Oh, Jack Ramsey. That's one thing I missed about this. Not miss. I wasn't around for him, but that's one thing I wish I had experienced with the 70s. Man, the clothes you guys wore back then were crazy. They were just nuts. Let's see. So Giants releasing Kenny Galladay. Eagles proposed a rule change to the NFL competition committee that would allow teams to attempt a 4th and 15 play to maintain ball possession when kicking off as an alternative to an onside kick. Interesting.
I actually like that
I wonder why they chose 15.
because it's not easy.
They must have run numbers and figured it's about as likely.
Yeah, it's not easy. Onside kicks are almost never work with the way they've had. You can't put everybody on one side anymore.
Right. Well, I mean, this just goes back.
I think that would be interesting. And if they miss it, look where the other team gets the ball.
Yep. Now that's the thing. Is it going to be? Where is it going to be from? The 4th and 15 from where? The point of
the
kickoff?
35 or 30 where you kick off. 35.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
If you don't get to midfield, they get the ball wherever you're stopped.
Yeah.
If you get sacked, they got some field position.
Yeah, or even if it's just incomplete, I guess it's the same difference. You know, the one thing about this, I mean, I don't dislike it, but it goes back to what I was saying yesterday. If this were actually enacted, let's just end all kicking in the game other than field goals. Like, let's just, stop with the pretense. We can't do onside kicks. Every kickoff is basically a touchback. Just put the ball in the 25-yard line and be done with it. Like,
I'm all for that.
I mean,
might be one less commercial break.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would rather them go back to the old way of kicking because I loved kick returns. They were one of my favorite parts of the game, but that's not going to happen. So I'd rather just put the dying dog out of its misery, so to speak, and get it over with. Like, let this.
That wouldn't bother me either. Get guys that can kick 70+ yard field goals, and you won't have to punt very much either.
Yeah, punting's becoming less and less frequent already because 4th down attempts are becoming more in vogue. They are more in vogue.
Yeah. Well, it's like, when discussing rule changes, like you were talking about the NBA one at the beginning of the show, I'll match that. What they're doing in the G League, I don't like, and I expect to see is quarter winning. You won the first quarter, you get X number of points. Standings points, depending on how many quarters you win. I'm not fond of that, but I'm not going to be surprised if it happens.
Wait, so you would get actual points on the board for winning a quarter?
No, points. You'd get standings points.
In football?
No, basketball.
Wait.
They're doing it in the G League now.
Wait, so
you get points per quarter if you win a quarter.
Okay. When you say points, like hockey?
Standings points, not.
Right. No, I know that. So you're talking like hockey points, like something similar to that.
Well, the hockey one's one of the dumbest rules ever.
Oh, it is.
Loser points should never, ever happen. You're not soccer. Stop it.
Oh, God. I hope they don't do that. That's a disaster.
This is the second year they're testing it in the G League. So I have a feeling it's coming.
Maybe not.
And that concerns me.
What would the benefit of that be? I'm just trying to understand their line of.
What if you lose a game on a fluke shot?
Yep.
But you win 3 quarters.
Okay.
This way you get rewarded for that. Mm-hmm. I don't know all the ins and outs. I read it, but it was last year that I read it.
That's the reasoning behind it. Okay. All right. Well, at least I understand. I don't agree with it, but I at least I understand now. All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back. Hour 2 around the corner. We got the top 5. We got our baseball previews. We're going to have Washington in the NL East, and we're going to have let's do Tampa Bay in the AL East, or Boston. We'll do Boston today. We'll do Boston and Washington in the AL and NL East respectively. That will leave Tampa, the Yankees, and Toronto in the AL, and it will leave the Mets, Braves, and Phillies in the NL. We'll get to all but the Yankees and Mets this week. No show on Friday, so we'll do those Monday. But right now, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do the top 5. It's the Gary Ayd Show, back in 4 minutes here on The Cave. Alrighty, we are back on the Gary Ayd Show. Great to have you aboard. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo, hour number 2. And of course, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube Live and the Cave Talk Radio app. So now, as is customary for this time of day, it's time for the top 5. Hit it, Jack George.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for King Talk Radio's Top 5.
All right, there we go. Thank you, Jack. What do we got today, Rich?
Help if I unmuted.
Yes,
Well, I'm scrapping what I had because what I was going to mention to you before I saw we were running long at the end of hour 1, did you see the 2 shot attempts that were not counted this weekend?
No.
In the Philly-Boston game, Embiid hit one from 3-quarter court
Jeez.
just after the clock ran out. Just like a millisecond after the clock ran out and it didn't count. Now, the next night, Paul George hits one over half court that would have won the Denver game just past the clock hitting all zeros. I mean, just past. It was just about as close as Embiid's. Give me your top 5 all-time game-winning or tying plays that didn't happen because the clock ran out.
Oh, I don't.
In any sport.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, because you have. I always remember the ones that did happen. When I think about ones that didn't, one is kind of silly because it's not. We don't know what would have happened, but the 2001 MLB All-Star game, they just decided to end it in a tie. So I guess that didn't happen.
That was one of the most disappointing things ever.
That was just like such a letdown.
And that's actually what made them make a rule.
Yep. Which I was in favor of, the World Series being home field being on the line there. I thought it was cool to make the game actually matter and mean something.
Considering it was then the only game that mattered in any sport.
No, I liked that. And, this idea that, not to get off too much on a tangent here, but this idea that, well, why would these guys care? They don't know they're going to be in the World Series. Well, a lot of those players will be. If you're on a team that's like really considered a favorite, there's likely 4 or 5 of you there. So like there's enough of a contingent that like, you're going to play for it because there's an expectation that it's a very likely possibility. Like
and 2/3 of them there will be in the playoffs.
Right, exactly. So
where anything can happen.
Right, every one of them knows that 2/3 has to think they have a chance. Yeah, I guess if you're the lone representative from the Royals or the Tigers, okay, fine. But like, if you're one of the 5 Yankees or 4 Braves or 6 Dodgers, yeah, you think you're going to be there. Anyway, so let's see.
If you want to alter this, feel free.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm just,
I mean,
things hit me and I think they're going to be good.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they will be.
Yeah. I mean, because it's just hard to remember a lot of plays that didn't happen. I know one that didn't happen. I think I can work through this. Another one that comes to mind is Mark Jones tackling whoever it was in that Super Bowl with the Rams and the Titans, literally from the inch-yard line as time expired. So that's a game-winning play that didn't happen. That touchdown. That was, I guess it was a game-winning play that did happen on the flip side of that same coin. You can look at that either way. But yeah, I'm going to choose to look at it from the offensive perspective. So that was pretty epic. They did not have the game-winning play in the Super Bowl with the Seahawks and the Patriots. They should have.
Yeah.
They could have.
I mean, there's a million of them in the NFL.
Yeah, there's a lot in the NFL. Trying to think of other sports. A good one. Carlos Beltran's strike 3 called against Wainwright in 06, not swinging. A lot of people look back at that as a could have been. It's hard to say in baseball because, there's no, expectation really in most cases that you're going to get a hit. But that's one example that comes to my mind right out of the gate. Is that? What about the Yankees in not the Yankees, I'm sorry, the Indians in 1997 losing to the Marlins? There was a number of opportunities there for game-winning opportunities that never materialized.
Yes. I'll give you another one. There was an NFL overtime game between the Steelers and the Bears. And the Bears had a long play for a touchdown. Called back. Never showed the infraction, but they called it back. And the Steelers went on to win. There was a Niners Saints one too, where a tight end, I think, pushed off in overtime. And they took a touchdown, the game winner away from the Saints against the Niners. There's like a million of them in the NFL. There's also a bunch of mistakes that happened in the NFL that cost game winners. Like somebody not picking up the ball or spiking it before they got in the end zone. And it's just a lot. Football has millions of these.
Yeah, football is really, I'm always amazed for all its moving parts and seeming randomness. An incredible number of football games come down to the last possession of the game. They really do. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Probably more than any other sport by percentage. I mean, I think an NBA buzzer beater is probably the greatest exclamation point in sports generally.
Yes.
Maybe along with a walk-off home run in the big playoff game. But there's more deciding would have, could have, might have been type of plays in football than any other sport.
And it could be coach's error, player's error. I mean, so much.
There's so many variables. A missed kick.
Yeah.
Norwood. Sorry. I guess that has to be on this list, right?
Probably does because it was makeable.
Right. It was makeable and it would have.
It was at the end of his range. Because back then, not everybody hit 50 yarders was regular.
Right.
But still.
But given the stakes and the subsequent reality of them never having won it, I think it probably has to be here.
Although it shouldn't have come down to that.
Well, yeah.
So I can't totally pin it on him. Although, yeah, dude, you got to make that.
Yeah, you want that one to go in.
Yeah.
Let's see. Think of one or two more, then we'll try to rank these. I remember, I think it was game 2 of a second round playoff series, like 2000 or 2001. The Lakers were playing, maybe it was Portland. And I seem to remember that was the series where they had that great comeback in game 7. But I seem to remember an earlier game where they had an opportunity and didn't capitalize. But I don't remember the specifics of it, so I'm not going to use it. But that was a really up and down, back and forth series with a lot of ebbs and flows. But let's put these in order. Number 1 for me, I think, has to be that Super Bowl against the Seahawks and the Patriots. I mean, just run the ball there. You're on the inch-yard line. You got a monster bowling ball. Like, just run the ball. Don't be an idiot. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's not the kind of guy that the first guy that hits him brings down either.
No, the first guy who hits him is the one that goes down. He hits the guy. The guy doesn't hit him. He's a bowling ball. He looks to hit people.
He was not called Beast Mode for a reason.
Yeah, that wasn't a random nickname. Exactly. So that's
A little side note on him, only because I saw him the other day ringing the siren at an intermission at a Kraken game. He is a part owner of that team.
okay.
He saved every dime he made in the NFL.
Wow.
Every dime. He lived on meal money checks, bonuses, everything else, and never spent a bit of it. That's why he's in the financial shape he's in today.
I mean,
And
good for him.
so many people just looked at him and said, "Oh, he'll be broke in 5 years." No, he won't. Never spent a dime of his NFL salary.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? Those are the kind of stories they don't report on.
Right. Well, yeah, because they're not like, car wrecks. They're the opposite of car wrecks.
Yeah. And sometimes the good stuff needs to get out there.
I totally agree.
Yeah, but he is a minority owner of the Seattle Kraken.
Well, there you go. All right, so let's see. So that's one. Number two. I think I'm gonna go with another football one, the tackle in the Titans Rams Super Bowl on like the 1 yard line.
Yes, they would have needed Gumby to score that touchdown because he could not reach that goal line.
That's it, just by a hair. So I'm going with that one.
Is there any Rams dynasty if they don't win that?
Maybe not. I mean, yeah, it's a good question.
Because no one considers the Bills run a dynasty, and I get why. They didn't win one.
Right.
But it was as much of a dynasty as a lot of others.
I agree. I mean, I always say I think it's harder to go to 4 in a row than it is to win one in 3 years.
Yeah, because you can win one on a fluke.
Right. Let's see. So number 3, I'm gonna go with the 2001 MLB All-Star game.
Yep.
That was just disappointing. Number 4, I have to go Norwood. Got to do it. And I'm sorry.
I'll live. Don't worry.
I got to do it. And number 5 is tricky. But I think I'm going to go with the you know what? It would have been cool to I'll give you one. And it's a weird one. It's kind of adapted a little bit because it technically went in, but because of when this game happened, it only tied, didn't win the game. And that's Jerry West's famous half-court heave.
Yes.
Had that happened 15 years later, that would have been a game winner.
Right.
And then didn't they lose that game in overtime?
They lost in overtime.
Yeah.
It was game 3.
Yep.
Against the Knicks.
Right.
And West's shot was like, it was more than half. It was 65 feet.
Yeah, that was a 65. That was like a good 10 to 20 feet behind half court.
Yeah, and I remember watching that very young.
Yep.
And seeing Dave DeBusschere just collapse under the basket where he was waiting for the rebound.
And it went right through the net.
Oh, my God. He just
couldn't believe it. Yep.
But that was Jerry West.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm going to put that one on the list.
That very well belongs there.
Yeah. So there's
it didn't win it.
Nope, it didn't. Tied it, and then they lost.
But look for the Embiid one, especially.
Okay.
That was like a hair after the clock went off. And he launched that from 3/4 court.
Joel Embiid's a monster. All right. Well, there we have it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do our baseball preview. We got Nationals and we got Red Sox to do today.
The Nationals.
The Nationals. That's right. All right. We'll be back after this. Back in 2 minutes. The Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All right, so we'll start with the Nationals in the National League. This is likely to be one of the worst teams in baseball. I don't know that there's a whole lot there to look at. They did get a pretty good haul from San Diego in the Juan Soto trade, but ultimately, Rich, this team is going to be buried. I mean, it's a combination of they don't have a ton of major league talent on their roster, coupled with I think
that division.
That's what I was just going to say. I mean, you might have the 3 best teams in the National League or even in all of Major League Baseball in your division. Certainly
Right.
3 of the 5 best. I mean, if I was going to list the 5 best teams going into the year, in no particular order, it's the Dodgers, the Mets, the Braves, the Phillies, the Astros, right? Like those are the 5 best teams in baseball this year, most likely, right? I mean,
I agree.
so 3 of them are in your division. So I'm sorry, Washington, but this is going to be a rough year.
Yeah, it is. It really is. They did get a haul back from San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that haul's going to be in the majors this year? And if they are, how ready are they?
Right.
I don't have much on them. I, like you, don't see anything on this roster that really jumps out at me and says, I'm excited about this.
No, I think it's going to be a tough year. And, this is, of all the sports, baseball's the one where if you're going into a season basically knowing you have no shot, that's tough because it's a whole year.
162 games knowing that you're never going to be in it.
You have to be dreading it. That's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's really terrible.
I'm not sure if they're as good as Miami, and Miami doesn't have much.
No, I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, then that's that. I mean, neither of them is competing for anything in this division. That's for damn sure. That we can guarantee. Maybe they compete with each other. And maybe Miami will go to vacation in Washington for a change instead of the other way around.
Right.
All right. So that's the Nationals. That's a quick one. Now I know yesterday you were talking about having some stuff on them, so I'll let you have at it. The Red Sox, Chowdertown. It's a team that's seems to be heading in the wrong direction, although they did retain one key player in the offseason this year. They did retain
Devers.
Yeah, Rafael Devers, yes.
Rafael Devers. Yep. You got Justin Turner. And they added Adalberto Mondesi. It's a few, but who else fills out the lineup?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see much on there that's going to scare the hell out of an opposing pitcher. This team is short in so many spots. The division's a gauntlet. I can see this season getting away from them early. I could see them finishing last if Tampa Bay doesn't. I mean, fans are frustrated. People are they're apoplectic with that they don't have Xander Bogaerts there.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
And who produces innings on this team? They got 4 guys over 30. Chris Sale going to do it? Heh.
Probably that.
He hasn't thrown 50 innings since the country started using Zoom. I mean, Corey Kluber, he's had 1 full season in the last 4 years.
Ugh.
Nick Pivetta, he makes starts. They're not good.
They're not good starts, but he's there.
But he makes starts. I mean, James Paxton has been hurt so many times, there's going to be a wing named after him in the ER. Where do the innings come from? What happens if pitchers start getting hurt?
Yeah. Wow. No, it's a good. You're right on the money. Look, I mean, the thing is too, that division, like you said, is pretty intense. Although it's not as intense as the NL East, and I think.
Oh no division is.
I think there's 3 teams that I could see finishing last in that division, depending how things play out. It's the Red Sox, the Rays, and the Orioles.
Mm-hmm. And I think the Orioles are better than the Red Sox and the Rays.
Maybe the Red Sox. The thing with the Rays,
I don't think they're going to compete in the division, but I think they're better than those 2 teams. The Rays have more holes in Swiss cheese, dude.
Yeah,
we can talk about them another day,
but
I have a
find ways
lot
to
of
win.
questions on them.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. Like, who's on the team? But we can we'll talk about that another day, like you said. But yeah, I mean, look, I think ultimately, if you're a fan of the Red Sox, I think you have to kind of go into this season with sort of a let's see what happens, hope for the best mentality, because I think there's a possibility that they find ways to scratch out wins that maybe surprise people. But I like to your point, there's also a possibility that they just bottoms out of the gate and they never recover. That could also
Yeah, what happens if they don't have pitchers by the beginning of June?
Yeah.
It's got to be a concern.
Yeah.
You're counting on older guys who haven't pitched that much. And it's not like any of the 4 are Jacob deGrom, who if you get a half a year out of him, you're celebrating.
Right.
Because the half a year you might get out of some of these guys isn't going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's not going to be a Jacob deGrom.
I mean, it's not going to be close.
Right, of course not.
That's why I think they can finish last. I mean, there is a little something there. They signed Devers. They added Justin Turner. That'll keep pitchers alert. And adding Mondesi also helps. But who else is there? I'm shocked that a team, and they're not a favorite of mine, but they're a team I could always count on competing. And one of the things I liked about them was how much they put into it. I liked it better when they didn't win. But the fact that they were that kind of team, remember what we said in the first hour, and nobody hates you if you're good.
Yep.
Or nobody, nobody cares if you're not good.
Right. No, you don't have.
But if you're good, they hate playing against you.
That's right. Absolutely. That's a
fact.
But
this year, I don't see it. I really don't. I don't see depth. I don't see starters. I don't see everyday players, enough of them. And I mean, Trevor Story too. His injury had to be another punch in the stomach.
Yeah, what's his story?
We don't know when he's we don't know when he's going to be ready. He's probably not back for the opener at least. It's like I said, they could finish last in the division. I wouldn't be surprised. So we wouldn't be either.
Nope, he wants some camera time.
Hey, deserves camera time.
All right, come here, Toby. There he is.
Camera time.
Camera time for the kitty. Station mascot.
I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me.
Yeah, no, this is.
If you think I'm wrong, tell me, because
Nope.
sometimes you got to keep me in check. You know how it is.
Oh yes, absolutely. Watch out for you.
That's right. It's a full-time gig.
Yeah, we need GPS technology for this one. That's what they're making AI for. It's people like you.
You're going to need GPS technology to find Red Sox pitchers this year.
They're going to say recalculating.
Yeah. Is that Nick Pavetta? Oh, he'll start. He won't be good.
Recalculating.
Oh, man. That almost felt like a little rant, but I wasn't ranting.
Continue. Straight. Continue. Oh man! All right, let's take a
stop recalculating.
Recalculating, right? Let's take a break. We'll come back. We got news you can use to close out the show, but before we do that, we're gonna hit up our NBA. We got a lot of games in the association tonight to look at. We'll pick through a few of the good ones. There's a few. We'll get to that.
We got some bad news with the Lakers too, and how big of an impact it's going to have.
Yep,
we got to talk about that.
We got that as well. So news from the Lakers. NBA games, news you can use. That's what's on tap the rest of the way. Back after this, the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All right. So the bad news, you were implying LeBron James likely out for an extended period of time. No official diagnosis yet, but it's a foot injury, and they're concerned it could be multiple weeks.
Yeah, the timing couldn't be worse. They're still outside of the playoff picture, but barely.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this team's 36-32 when James is out. They have a plus 3.6 net efficiency with him on the court, a minus 6.8 when he's not there.
I wonder.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah, I wonder how similar to his career splits that actually is, because
it's pretty close. Because if you compare it with teams this year, when he's on the court, stats-wise, they're similar to the Bucks. When he's off the court, and stats-wise, they're considered close to the Hornets. Not good.
Not good. Bad news.
Now, it's a crushing blow. It really is. And this is going to be where AD either earns his money or you're shopping him in the offseason.
Yep.
He needs to step up. If he doesn't step up, they're done.
Yep. Yeah, they need AD. And when you say step up, you're talking averaging 33 and like 13
Go
rebounds.
get 30 and 15
Yep.
every night.
Yeah, right.
At
That's
least.
that's what you need right now. Look, and the other thing is you want to see when is D'Angelo Russell coming back? Because the one thing that you have going for you, if he's back relatively soon, you do have another guy who is a sharpshooter who you didn't have before.
Right,
but no, yeah, I mean there's no replacing.
You don't replace
LeBron
with anyone.
No, he's one of one. We understand.
Right.
But,
and
but you have to muddle through because what is there about
the stars have to be aligned for this team.
Yeah. What are they about 6
Like
weeks
this.
left in the season? 6
Yeah.
weeks left in the season.
About 20 games left.
Yeah. So I mean, if LeBron misses, let's say 2.5 weeks, that's probably about half the remaining games or so.
I think it's going to be a little more.
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah, I mean, this is pretty bad news for them. It really is. Which is a shame because they did a pretty good job of remaking the roster.
They did. I mean, this is coming off the biggest comeback in like over 2 decades.
I know. You know, and the one thing, the one silver lining here, because you heard him say, I heard something pop. And when you think pop and you think ankles, you think Achilles injuries. But he played, what, like 8 minutes after that? 6 minutes?
Yeah.
So it wasn't an Achilles, because you can't play with a torn Achilles. It's not physically possible.
No, even him being superhuman.
Yes.
Can't do.
So I'm pretty confident that it's probably not a torn Achilles.
Right, but I see him missing at least 3 weeks, maybe a month, and probably 14 of the 20 games.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And that's bad.
Yeah, it is.
Not as bad as what happened to LaMelo Ball.
Ugh, another bad injury.
Oh, my God. He crossed over. It was not a contact injury.
Yep.
He just crossed over and boom, ankle fractured.
Crazy.
It's awful.
It's totally nuts. These type of injuries, these non-contact injuries, they always make your head spin because, like, how do they happen? They're just so random. Couple of games to look at tonight.
You know something though, and this comes from those skinny Kevin Durant legs.
Yep.
These guys with these extremely skinny legs, oh yeah, they could fly up and down the court. But man, that's like the rookie for Oklahoma City, man. Holmgren, he's got those skinny little legs. You better bulk them up.
Go hang out with Zion for a little while in the offseason. He'll show you all the right places.
I mean, you got to do something. You don't last in this league with those kind of legs.
Nope.
And Durant's had his share of injuries.
Yeah, he has. Yep.
If he'd have strengthened those a little bit, who knows where he could be.
Yeah, I'll give you one game tonight that doesn't really jump out of the page, but I find this game intriguing, and that's Washington and Atlanta. The reason I find this game intriguing is because I think these teams are fairly similar to one another, but I think Atlanta right now is a team that has a lot of growing up to do. I think there's a lot of immaturity on that team. I think it's principally what led to Nate McMillan being let go. And congratulations to Quinn Snyder. He's a great coach. They got a big contract. I have no doubt that he'll eventually get this team heading in the right direction, but I think it's going to take some time. And I expect Washington to come in here and out execute them by being more mature late in what I expect to be a close game. I think this game is going to be a nice microcosm of where the mental part of basketball intersects with the physical when things are close to equal. And I think this is an interesting example of that.
You know what else is interesting about that game? The over-under. 234.5 points.
Jeez.
That's the exact same over-under as in the Sacramento-Oklahoma City game.
No one's going to stop anybody. Yeah, let's talk about Sacramento for a second. Good for them. They're what, like 10 games over 500 now? They're going to be in the playoffs.
35-25.
Yep. Good for them.
They're sitting in the 3rd seed in the West.
Yep.
They could beat anyone in the West on any given night because they can outscore
They
them.
could just score and score and score.
They're averaging, 122 points a game?
Unbelievable. 120, 122, something like that. Yeah, it's
That's
insane.
sick.
Totally insane. I think this game is going to be interesting. I'm worried for OKC because SGA is questionable. If he doesn't play, I don't think they can keep up. But if you like offense, this is the game to watch. There's plenty of it.
Oh, yeah. Both teams are good offensive.
Yep, there'll be plenty of offense in this game. A few other games here. I think an interesting game in this tonight is probably Minnesota and the Clippers. This is a team in Minnesota that's getting into desperation mode. Clippers are playing pretty good, but the one thing I'm concerned about for the Clippers right now is with Zubats out tonight, I think they're going to have zero ability to prevent Anthony Edwards from just living in the lane if they can get him freed up with a screen or something. There's no back help at all. But
I felt the same way against Denver, and Plumlee played an incredible game. That was one of those smart under the radar pickups.
Because the good news for the Clippers, I'll say this, is even if my fears are realized, I don't think the Timberwolves have enough firepower to score enough points. I think Edwards could end up having close to 40 or something, but I could see the Clippers beating them anyway because I just don't know where else you're going to get points from. Russell's not there anymore. Towns is out. Where are you getting points besides Edwards right now if you're in Minnesota?
That's the problem.
Yeah, where are the points coming from?
And it's a big problem with that team.
No Beasley. I didn't really understand that trade from the perspective of the Timberwolves. I have to be honest. That trade didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Not at all.
But that's why they're the Timberwolves and are never any good because they do things like this.
Very true. Portland and Golden State's intriguing.
Yes.
The over-under, that's 235 and a half.
Jeez.
Neither plays defense and both can score.
Yep.
Although Golden State's a different animal at home.
They're very different at home. That's very true. The thing about Portland that concerns me is they can't stop anybody inside. And now Nurkic is out. Simons is out. I mean,
Nurkic being out kills them.
Yeah, they have nothing else. Really,
they
zero.
have no chance.
Yeah, really zero. Wiggins being likely out is bad for Golden State. I mean, we know Curry's out for a while, but Wiggins not being in also hurts. A lot of injuries right now on teams that are like fighting for their playoff lives. A lot of concerning, significant injuries.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and it's showing in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And I think it'll come back to haunt Golden State.
Is Towns going to play again this year? Or is they're just going to sit him out the rest of the way at this point?
I have no idea.
He's been out a long time.
He has. You notice, though, I think that's really opened up.
It's opened up Edwards' game immensely.
Edwards, who's just. This is the first time he's looked like someone who could take a team and run with it, and I'm so glad to see it.
The thing is, though, for Minnesota, if they're gonna build something, they need both of them because they don't have any other offensive players right now. They're gonna either need to like rebuild around Edwards and trade Towns,
which I would do. I would move Towns.
Yeah.
I think he brings Edwards down.
Yep.
He monopolizes the ball, and he's not the most efficient guy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He should have been able to play without a problem with Rudy Gobert, and I don't blame Gobert.
Right.
Another point from a weekend game, that incredible comeback the Lakers made against the Mavs. Obviously, LeBron was on the floor. Who was next to him that made the biggest difference, especially defensively? Jared Vanderbilt.
Yeah, 16 and 17.
He made every clutch play on both ends during that comeback.
Yep.
I told you, this kid can play.
16 and 17. He had a good game. He no doubt
And
about
don't
it.
be surprised if they count on him a little more with LeBron out. He was not just a throw-in. And I know I was telling you that when the trade happened.
See, my concern right now is I'm not seeing Walker in the rotation hardly at all, and I don't like that. They're going to need him in these next so many games to pick up some offensive slack because he's a capable offensive player, and we saw it earlier this year. I want to see him back in the rotation, especially while D'Angelo Russell's still out. No Russell, no LeBron. There's no reason why this guy shouldn't be playing 20, 22 minutes a night right now.
There is no excuse for it unless he came back and was not 100%.
Because he's playing 8 minutes here, 12 minutes, like barely touching the ball. Like the guy's too good for that. Like, especially right now. I understand where you got a little crowdingness in this rotation right now, trying to figure everything out. I get that. But there's so many guys who are potentially in that rotation that are out right now. Now there's two big ones, your two best players, probably two of your three best players. Like, what? Play your best guys. I mean, Walker should be in there.
I agree. I agree completely. He has to be in there.
Him, Schroeder, and Beasley are basically going to compete for minutes. Two of the three are going to get minutes on a nightly basis.
It should be Walker and Beasley, I'm going to be honest.
I think so, too. Although Schroeder's been better than I thought this year. I have to give him some credit. He's had a number of important games, but he drives me crazy. He always has.
Yeah.
He's always
he kind of has that Westbrook about him without the effectiveness.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's take our last break. We'll come back. We'll finish up with news you can use. The Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All righty, we're back. It's time to do some news you can use. What do we got?
Oh, I think I can find a few things after some of my originals were taken.
Come on.
Mike Trout says that the Angels must end the playoff drought if they have any hope of keeping Shohei Ohtani.
Oof.
He said this has to be the year. He said it's got to be. We win and get into the playoffs, he'll think about staying a lot more. He said he's going to do everything he can to keep him here, and they have talked in the off season. He said he's earned the right, though, to play through it and explore free agency.
Yep.
He said, we've got to give him a reason.
Yep. Hey, it's very candid of Trout. And I mean, it makes perfect sense. What's interesting, though, it's not often in baseball you see guys who are going to sign those mega contracts really prioritize being on a winning team. So it's interesting that Ohtani is doing that. Because, when I think of mega contracts, I think of Pujols to the Angels, A-Rod, Soto to the Padres. Now, some of these teams, the Padres, for example, they're competitive, but they don't have
as were the Angels.
Oh,
I mean, back then they were when he signed that deal.
Yeah, that with Pujols, Trout not so much, but Pujols, yes. But
right.
But what's interesting though about the Padres is they're competitive right now, but they don't have a history of that makes you feel comfortable that they're gonna stay that way. And it's not like they've won a whole lot in this little short window. So it's sort of like an in between. But Ohtani sounds like he's looking to go and compete for titles, and hey,
that's what he wants.
Good for him. Uncle Steve is ready for you, buddy. Come on over here. Uncle Steve is ready for you.
And I think Uncle Steve will take him too.
He'll write 2 blank checks. Forget one. We'll write you one now. We'll give you a Bonilla contract for later. How about that? Let's go, baby. Bring him in.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We were talking about Carson Wentz earlier.
Yes.
The biggest takeaway I have from that is not where is he going after that.
Is he going?
But they saved $26 million in cap space by cutting him.
Yowzers. Whew. I mean, look, Carson Wentz has to be one of the biggest collapses in recent NFL history. I mean, because he started off the year, his rookie year, really as a really good player. Then he was an MVP candidate his second year for the first half of the year. And ever since that point, he's been almost unplayable. It's amazing.
I agree.
It really is a hard to compare fall. You don't see this very often. I mean, Robert Griffin III comes to mind a little bit, although I think Wentz had done a little bit more for a little bit longer. But that's maybe the closest comparison in football recent history I can think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough to watch.
True. Very true.
So, all right, we got time for maybe 2 more.
Alabama quarterback Bryce Young is not throwing at the NFL Combine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Every other potential first-round quarterback is throwing. And that's kind of telling to me. Red Sox manager Alex Cora likes the pitch clock.
Yes.
He says the pace has been amazing. No doubt about it. This is the right thing to do.
Interesting to hear a manager very much in the prime of his managerial career, a guy known for really pushing the envelope with the analytics, especially. It's interesting to hear him say that.
Jason Stark had a lot to say about this too. He said, time for another update from MLB on pitch timer violations. 16 games Sunday, 35 clock violations, 27 by pitchers, 8 by hitters. Total for the spring, 35 games, 69 clock violations, 1.97 per game.
Yeah, about 2 a game. Okay.
Said the average time is down 22 minutes so far. Last spring, the average game was taking 3 hours and 1 minute. Now it's 2:39.
That's amazing.
Said this spring, only 6 games in the entire sport have been over 3 hours. None over 3 hours and 6 minutes. Very, very interesting.
That really is. And it'll probably speed up a little bit in the regular season too, because you'll have, tighter rotations, more of your regulars, and probably slightly fewer pitching changes, especially on
Right.
nights when you're going with some of your better guys. So that's good stuff. Look,
Hey.
I'm all about it. I have been. I'm a big proponent of it. It needed to happen. It's bottom line.
Yes,
It needed to happen.
absolutely did.
Yep. So good job by baseball on that one.
And good job by you, sir.
Yay. I'll take it. All right. We got one more. What do we got?
We got one more. Oh, now you threw me off. How dare you?
Oh, you know what? I got something for us. I do. Beginning this week. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact. We'll probably get it on the air next week. But I can say this now as we're signing the agreement tomorrow. We have a new advertiser coming on board.
Yay.
I'd like to welcome to the Cave Talk Radio family Days Coffee in Middletown.
Oh, nice to have some good local brew.
Yeah, they are tremendous. They've been around a little over a year. They're right over on North Street for those familiar with the area. Right about 3 or 4, maybe 5 buildings in from the intersection of North Street and East Main. Their coffee is very good. It's enzyme fermented, so it's supposedly better and less troublesome for your stomach. All I know is it's delicious, and I've never had heartburn from it, so it's really, really good. So definitely check them out. You'll be hearing more about them and what they have to offer in the coming weeks and months. They'll be with us for the next year, so very exciting stuff.
All right.
So welcome to the Cave Talk Radio family days. We appreciate it. And yeah, let's sell some coffee. So that was a quick
much better than my story about the Browns owner buying part of the Bucks.
Oh God.
It's great. Another team that clown can mess up.
Another one. Just another one. All right, well, that'll do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 to noon. We'll see you then. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave.